Good morning all, and time again for Sunday Q&A. Hey, Christmas is coming. Right, we'll start off today. There's a couple of comments on it. Basically, Forlorny, F-L-L, Lawforny, L, whatever, and Longfinger. Admittedly, Forlorny has like a smiley things, and guys, I know you watch, and and it's kind of stop telling people to join the CX. I don't know where you're coming from. It's kind of like, it's hard enough out there already, as Longfinger says. You know, when we started, he was probably it was easy to get jobs, getting more money for jobs, and the more people that join, the more competition, the harder it is. I take your point. I mean, a long time ago, a guy asked me the question, he said, well, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing these videos? All you're doing is shooting yourself in the foot. And I have never lied to you boys. I do these videos for two reasons. Firstly, I get money. Amazon pay me for it. They don't pay me a lot. Was it Amazon? YouTube pay me for it. But it's starting to roll in. And as the subscribers start to roll in, I get more views. And as I get more views, I get more money. And also there's a possibility that subscribers roll in. I can start talking to people and I can start putting things on my channel which people will give me kickbacks for. So that's reason number one. And then there's reason number two, which is the main reason, which is I never really started off to do this. I just did it. And it's kind of, I've never told anybody to join a CX. I've never gone, come on the CX is great. All I've ever done is gone, this is my life on the CX. And then I started telling people how to do it. That upset a few people, because who the hell do I think I am? Who's this guy? He's only been doing it 6 months. He's telling us all how it works. Well, they're dead right. I don't know how it works. But all I ever really do is, if I can help people out there that are on the CX, that have just joined, and they go, I don't know what to do, and then they can watch the video and then go, well, that makes it easier. Well, they've joined already. They've paid their money. And other courier drivers too. If anyone's watching who's not on the CX, but they might go, well, that's interesting. I never thought about printed signs. You know, that's kind of why I do it. Yeah, I'm not here to upset anybody. I'm just here. And also, it's a forum as well, kind of, not like the forum on CX. You've got that, you can use that. That's a decent tool. There are people on there that know a lot better than me. You can talk to them. But it does mean that if you've got a question, you can put it on and I'll ask it. And someone out there who is much more knowledgeable than me will answer it and I'll pass it on. But like I say, I've never actually said to anyone, join the CX, it's great. All I just do is videos about my life on the CX. And if I do so, if I make a mistake or I learn something, I share it. Admittedly, sometimes it might come across a bit rosy, but on the flip side, I did do a video this week on what's wrong with the CX, and we can keep addressing those issues true. I just want to be honest, boys, to be honest with you. And like I say, at the end of the day, who knows where it might lead on the YouTube thing. It's all strings to your bow. And that's the other thing. You don't just have to work on a CX, but we'll come back to that. Plenty of things to talk about today. But I just wanted to get that one out of the way first. Like Gitters a bonus said, prices are dropping. Well, maybe that is to do with more people joining the CX, and maybe that is somewhat to do with me, but it was never my intention. It is a problem. This is thing. Some firms will always pay more than others, and when you've been working for a long time, you can get to identify with them, and then eventually they'll start ringing you, and if they ring you, they tend to give you better money. But there is what I'm going to call the drop-off problem, which is where people there are certain people that join the CX. There are a few people out there, and they quote too cheap. And then that's fine, because they think they're making money, and they're running, and they're running, and they're running, and then suddenly the gearbox goes on the van, and they haven't got the money to repair it, and so they drop off. But then for everyone whose gearbox breaks, and they drop off the CX, another one joins. So it's kind of like a rolling conveyor belt. One joins, one drops off, one joins. So there's always going to be an element on the CX that's working for too little money. What I would say to this is don't undersell yourself. A lot of the time, it's not just down to money, it's also down to where you are on a location and also down to your experience. And sometimes if you quote too cheap, the shipper will write it off. If you say, unless you've got a really good reason to drive 3 pallets from Newcastle to London for 40 quid, they're going to go, that's going to go wrong, isn't it? And they've got the money that they've got on the job. A lot of the time also I've found that, don't get me wrong, you make more money if you can, but if they're going to get 300 quid for the job and someone comes in at like £200, they'll go 250, they'll go, right, that's fine, sell that one on, that's done, there's my 50 quid, move on to the next one. At least that's how I think it happens. Ian, if it doesn't happen this way, let me know, mate. What else have we got on this one? Oh yeah, as Barat Odera says, he said, it will be good to see how much the jobs sold for. It would be good. I mean, I'll be honest, mate. I was a market trader forever, and I had to barter with my customers all the time. And this was something. And there's a different point actually. I wish I didn't have to bid. I wish the jobs just come up with. But then every time it does come up like that, it says job from London to Newcastle pays £100. I'm thinking, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Not from London to Newcastle in a Luton van, it doesn't. It pays £250. Otherwise, it doesn't go. There might be someone who does, you know. So, but that would be interesting actually if you could, if it came up after the job, it said sold, and then said underneath sold for. Now, with that in mind, and like I've told you, lads, I never lied to you. I've got a meeting with the CX on Tuesday. Which means I can't work, which is a bit of a drag because I could use the dough. But I kind of figured that something might come in a meeting which got to be in my interest, like, you know. Yeah, they've asked me to come up because they're having a meeting with a few selected owner drivers that, well, I'm not owner driver anymore, but I'm still driving a van. Just basically getting their opinion, how the thing works, how they can improve it, that kind of stuff. And they've asked me, I think because of the videos and because of the channel, I'm kind of on their radar. Again, I've told you that. So with that in mind, if you've got any questions or any points or anything you want to say to the CX, this would be a good time to leave them in the comments. And don't give me a message and don't give me an email because I don't watch them. Just leave it in the comments, and when I see them on Tuesday, I can go. I'm constructive as well, please. I can go. The guy's name's Chad. And I'm going, right, Chad, there's this here, you know, and who knows, maybe they'll, you know, hopefully they'll take on board, I believe they do, everything you say. So that's kind of that one now. Another one on Darren, Classman and a van, he's gone back to driving trucks. He's taken his channel down for a bit. I think it might be up again, it might not. He said, I'm just going to take it down for a bit. It's kind of, I think he just needs a bit of a break. But as Yorkshireman Daily Grind said, he says, I think he's doing the right thing. He says, because the thing about the CX is you're not tied to it. You don't. Some people will just use it for backloads. Some people use it in conjunction with like any van or Shipley. You may be a lorry driver and you may drive up to Newcastle and you may be coming back empty. So you might, but you know, they might not mind, and you could use the CX to get yourself a little bit of pocket money on the way home. And of course, if something better comes up, if you're driving on the CX and then someone comes up and says, you know, if you're a plumber or a bricklayer and someone says, look, I need you desperately to come and help me install this boiler or make this conservatory. Is that right? Make a conservatory. I'm sure that's not right. And they won't pay you a ton of money. Go and do it. And then when you finish, jump back in the van. You know, you're free. That is one of the good things about it. You're free to do what you like, you know. So, but yeah, I think Darren, if he's not up and running, we'll be up and running again soon. And when he does, I'll give him a little plug. He's a nice guy. With that in mind, Jason Burke said, can you do some more day in the life videos? Absolutely, my friend. In fact, I've done 3 already. I was just, you know, like sometimes I'm hard pushed. I'm thinking, I better do a video, otherwise people, you know, interest will wane. And so I have to, and then sometimes you do a video and then something happens, you think, I'll do another video, and then something else happens, you do another video, but I don't put them all out in one go. Normally they're pretty much live or pretty much fresh, do them, post them. But sometimes I think, I can't just, you know, no one's going to want to see 3 videos of me a day, least of all me. So yeah, there's some stuff coming out next week. And with that in board, Ibrahim, who helped me get that job off that didn't work, and the guy that I met, at the pub with the joinery who joined, and he's you know I'm talking about the guy who's named his CX after his son's character in that game. I've done the videos, guys. They're coming out next week. CR says, the CX ships abroad. How do you price? I don't go abroad. I don't need to. I live in Luton, or the Dunstable. It's one of the busiest areas in the whole of the country. I just pick jobs up, drive them round and come home again. If you were to price carefully. I think if you're pricing abroad, unless you're going to northern France, Belgium, northern Germany, there's a good chance you ain't going to get a job back. In fairness, you are probably going to struggle to get a job back full stop. So I'd double the mileage, and you've got to take into account ferry there and back. And as soon as you start taking this into account, there's a good chance you ain't going to get it because you're going to be too dear. Having said that, I really don't know how to price abroad. And I find it's me, I'm always thinking, well, I'll just price it by the miles, and realise that there's a load of toll roads I didn't take into consideration. If you want, guys, if you want to leave me some information on how to price jobs abroad, I'll pass it on. I may even do a video on it, but like I say, I can't really comment on that one because I've never done one. One day I will, but not right now. And the other thing, up and coming videos. Thanks very much for the input, guys. Steve Elcombe is talking about different kinds of Luton vans. There are Lutons and Lutons. I'll do a video on it. And Rumba 10 says he wants to do a video on it. He wants to show me a video how I post a job. I'll be honest with you, I don't post many jobs. I'm still the man in the van. The jobs are normally done through the office, so either Jim and I will do it. But it's very, very straightforward. I know that you can do it from your phone, and it basically is just a matter of following the instructions. I've done it. I just don't do it very often. If a job comes in, I just say, ring Gemma. So there you go. CO Flex said, your terms versus whose terms stand? Your terms versus theirs. As far as I understand it, the CX is looking into that. I think it normally tends out to be negotiation. And JCB. I presume by JCB you mean if you get a job into JCB, because a few of them turn up. JCB is kind of pretty much the same as airports, which is or distribution hubs sometimes. Like Kurt Nagel, some of them are good. The Waitrose one I hate. In the fact that they'll keep you, they keep you in a queue, they keep you waiting, they'll give you a call in to charge. So yeah, if I get around to it, mate, I will. Next time I'm there, I'll do a little video on that one. So, Mark Lachlan says, done this before. Feedback after payment. Should you leave, particularly when you're new and you're starting off, should you leave the feedback when everything's? I've got to be honest with you, mate. No. Just give them positive feedback instantly. And I know it's wrong and I know it shouldn't work that way. But the thing about life is there's the law and the rules, and then there's the way that it really works. So the rule is you have to do 30 miles an hour. But chances are if you're doing less than 34, they won't prosecute you. There are laws and there are rules, and there are the way that life works and the way that that things really do work. There are things in, I know my friend works in insurance, and there are things that I can tell you that we do that we're not supposed to do. But we do them, and everybody does. And that's just the way it works. So what I would say is, particularly when you're starting off, just give them positive feedback straight away, and you can always change it later. Because if you give them positive feedback, they'll give you positive feedback, and then the whole thing starts to clock up, and then you actually got more chance of getting jobs. I do find the feedback thing a bit irritating, actually. It's kind of, so recently we had 2 negative feedbacks on our system. One's dropped off now. And one of them was because a shipper sent us through a job for one of our drivers on the electronic quote within 2 minutes. But within that 2 minutes, he'd got another job, and we said the driver's not available now. And they went, well, he's got to do it because we sent it through. I went, no, he doesn't. But they went to CX, the CX upheld it. So, but what is very frustrating, 2 negative feedbacks over 1,700 jobs. That's 99.9998% positive. And people go, oh, got a lot of negative feedback on your system. No, we haven't. We've done a lot of work. So, we're certainly starting to. So, anyway, learn as you go, mate. I think it would be better if you could do it as a percentage, rather than, percentage of jobs completed well, that kind of thing. But hey, talk to Jad on Tuesday, see what he says, can I? What else have we got? Some thank yous for the Eifel Sign. Simple Brian taught me that. In fact, he gave me the sign for the first time. In fact, I think the sign still got his mobile number on it. But yeah, it's just, and I thought, Mike Pulpit, Offside Logic, and Scott Price. Good to speak to you, mate. He was one of the first guys I spoke to when I started all this nonsense. It just makes sense. Don't get me wrong, it might not stop you getting a ticket or a clamp, but just having a laminated sign that says driver on urgent hospital delivery, and I'd even flip it over, have one on the back that says if it's not an urgent hospital delivery, or just if you're stopping anywhere, saying courier driver on delivery, get it laminated. It might not stop you getting a ticket or a clamp, but it might. And it don't hurt you, does it, just to go like that, take it from the bit above the, where the wing mirror, the flippy thing is, and stick it in the window. I'm sure it won't hurt. I'm going to get myself a nice one. Might get it with orange and tack stripes. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Lloyd J. Yeah, wouldn't it be lovely if we could? Yes, Lloyd, wouldn't it be lovely if we could abolish paper invoicing? Yes, it would. And maybe one day it might happen, and we'll have electric vans that fly, and there'll be peace and harmony and no hunger and no war. At the moment, mate, it is what it is. We do electronic invoicing as when we complete the job, and we send out paper invoice. And this is an interesting one as well, we've learned, because some people don't like getting it twice, but if you put in your notes on your paper invoicing, it is our policy to send out duplicate paper invoices as well as the electric invoice as well. That was clear, wasn't it? They're less likely to get the ump, because some people don't like getting it twice. But if you have to go through everyone, this one needs a paper invoice, this doesn't need a paper invoice, this one needs it on the hurry up, it's painful. Best thing is just to send it all out, it just saves the grief. Belts and braces as well, that way you get paid. Elton CR, he says, can you sign up with CX at any time? As I believe so. Yeah, you can, mate. I think so. Don't see any reason. Normally the best thing to do is to phone them and speak to Will. You can mention my name if you like, but again, nothing comes of it at the moment. But then, see you in chat on Tuesday. Steve Davis, tips on fatigue. Mate, I know it's a problem, innit? What are you going to do? I mean, I had one recently where I had to do a job and I was up raving early and up to Manchester and then back again, and then on the way back, and then another job came in, but I couldn't pick it up till 7 o'clock that night, and it had to be up in Manchester the next morning. I know I've just been driving for like, I mean, I've driven before for 10 hours. Now, it said on my police speeding course lately that if you've got no tacho on anything under 3.5, it's not like lorry drivers, you're not controlled. You can drive for 48. You could drive the rest of your life without sleeping if you wanted to. But if you're involved in an accident and they can prove that you've been driving without a brake, they will do you for it. But then it's a problem, isn't it? What you're going to do if you're knackered and then someone rings up and says, I've got a super duper job for you in the morning, but you've got to pick it up at midnight, you ain't going to say no. I would say just take as many breaks as you can, get as much sleep as you can, look after yourself as best you can. Failing that, it's coffee, isn't it? So, yeah, it is a problem. Be careful. I hate to feel anything happening to anybody, that'd be horrible. What we got? Like, we're nearly finished now, guys. Mark Vito long wheelbase. He said, well, what size is it now? I meant to put this one in when I was doing about size of vans. There is one on size of vans. I meant to say, measure it lengthways, and then measure widthways, and then measure the height, and then measure the diagonal, because if you've got a Luton and you've got the bit above the cab, you can get 5 metres in, and then measure the door, because there's no point saying it's 2 metres wide and the pallet's 2 metres wide and they go to put it in the van, but your door's only 1800 wide because you've got the little flappy bits. Ain't going to go on, is it? So measure the door that it goes into, measure everything you possibly can. Get a tank of petrol in, get your spare wheels on, take it down the weighbridge, get it weighed. Find out everything you possibly can above your van, and then when you quote the job, you can ring them up and they'll go, you say, what is it? And they'll go, it's pallets, mate. You say, well, I've got, my van is this wide by this wide by this wide. They'll do it, sit down. If you told them everything and you turn up and it doesn't go on, you covered yourself. And you said, well, it won't fit, mate. You said, well, you said you've had, no, I told you it was this size. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, better pay you then. And finally, Asif Patel says, how do you give a business receipt? Don't know what a business receipt is. If it's an invoice, the CX automatically generates it for you. But if you wanted, if you could be a bit more specific, stick it in and come back to it next week. I guess that's kind of it, guys. So, like I say, I am going to meet with the CX on Tuesday. They just want some feedback from someone who drives a van. And as you guys know, the guys that meet me on the road, I had a guy meet me on the road. He said, "You are just like you are in the videos." Fancy that. So, if you've got any questions, anything you want to put to them, put it in there now. You've got today and tomorrow. I'm going to see him on Tuesday if it pings up, I suppose. And I'll happily pass it on. And in the meantime, I hope you're well and I hope it's working out for you. And take care, take money.